We're going back to a classic today. At least that's what the tactic says, so let's check it out. This tactic is called the 5-2-3 Structured Classic by a creator named Strider. The only thing that's in this tactic on the Steam Workshop is the classic version of the 5-2-3. There is a screenshot. It looks like it is with Arsenal, but that is all it says. As you can see in the tactic itself, we have a goalkeeper in defend, ball-playing defender on the left and right in defend, a central defender centrally, wingbacks on the left and right in attack, deep line playmaker on the left in support, a box-to-box in support on the right, inside forward in attack on the left, an inverted winger in attack on the right, and a complete forward in attack up front. Positive mentality, custom fluid counter-attacking style. In possession, attacking with his fairly narrow approach play is pass into space, overlap on the left and right, play out of defense, passing directness is slightly shorter, tempo is slightly higher, mixed crosses in the final third, work the ball in the box, run at defense, and be more expressive. In transition, counter press, counter, distribute quickly, and distribute to the center backs and the fullbacks. Out of possession, mid-block line of engagement, so you're sitting back a little, standard defensive line, trigger press much more often, get stuck in, drop off more, and the trap inside. How did this work for our three teams? I mean, Tottenham in Conference League spot at 65 points is probably average. Newcastle in 9th on, 56 points? Wolves, though, 17th and 38, not great at all. Now, as a reminder, just because the tactic did not work for our three teams in this sim, all I'm doing is I'm simming. The entire office staff and all the coaches and everything are doing all the work for me. That does not mean that this tactic is awful or anything like that. We'll see what happens in the data hub in just a minute, but it just means that in the sim itself, it didn't do very well. When you actually take control of things, as I always say, you're bound to do a lot better. You're bound to pick up points where these teams dropped off some. So Tottenham, at 65 points, you could probably maybe find your way up to Manchester United at 76. It depends on how well you do, the momentum that you have going into each game, the camaraderie of everyone and everything all combining together. But with all that said, schedule-wise, Everton a nice start, but a 3-4 loss to Manchester City. See, there you might be able to pick up points. It's early in the season. Leicester 2-3, you might be able to pick up points there. A nice run afterwards. Porto you do lose. Newcastle you lose, and then Chelsea you lose. But the first half of the season looks not too bad. Second half of the season starting out nicely. I mean, you do have a 0-4 against Manchester United. That one hurts. But Arsenal. You got 3 games against Arsenal, all almost back-to-back-to-back, except for this Hull City right in there. But actually, you do continue on against Arsenal. 4-1 at home in the second leg of the EFL Cup semifinals. You do lose out at home, but still continuing on to the cup final where you win against Newcastle. 2 teams, that's probably where you get the Conference League, but 2 teams of our 3 getting into that final, which is fantastic to see. But again, Arsenal, 1-5 FA Cup 5th round loss. Champions League, you're second leg against Inter. You win 3-0, but the first leg you lose 0-5. That one hurts away from home. So maybe a little more defensively right there. But at the tail end of the league, you got 3 losses, 2 draws, and a single win in this time span. Newcastle having a fantastic start again. Liverpool 2-3. Again, maybe you can get a draw out of that. Who knows? It's the very start of the season. So they're not really running on full sprint either. But you got 3 losses from that point on. Manchester City, Brighton 1-4, and then Manchester United 0-1. So there you go. But great first half of the season. Second half looking absolutely awful. You got FA Cup third round replay out 3-5 against Fulham. EFL Cup final, we've already seen 0-1 in extras against Tottenham. And then 2 wins and a draw in the final 3 months. Ouch. Wolves, you definitely expect to have an awful time. First 2 months are pretty bad. But in October, a fantastic run up until Fulham 0-2. But you do lose out in the EFL Cup quarters against Newcastle 1-2. I mean, you're getting to the corners still is pretty fantastic. FA Cup, you're continuing on up until the quarterfinals there. West Ham 0-2. And then, wow. I mean, again, just completely dropping off. April and May is awful. Transfers for Tottenham, you do see 52 million for Pau Torres from Villarreal. Big move there. And then nothing out. Not much from Newcastle come January. I mean, you got a couple in Aranda, Kennedy, Molina, and Sutar from Leicester on loan. Wolves, no one coming in since Miguel Veloso came in, so nobody in January. And then on the outs, nobody that we haven't seen before. Squad-wise for Tottenham, you can see they've got a couple of greens in there, which is nice to see. Not really high numbers, though. Newcastle, Alexander Isaac with a 7.47. That looks fantastic, but really, that's the only one. Wolves, Jimenez with a 7.15, which is nice to see. Unfortunately, really nobody else. Data hub for Tottenham, attacking-wise, not too bad. It looks like they are shaky defensively, good in attack. And as you can see, Tottenham has some really good numbers in attack. It's not a dribbling tactic, as we've seen. Shots really are down, crossing are down. So defending, yeah, I mean, as always, they need to pick it up a bit. Newcastle pretty much in the same boat, shaky defensively, good in attack. Some good attacking numbers, still low on some of these side points. And then defensively, interceptions per game is nice. Tacklings attempted per game is not too bad. Everything else is below or well below the Premier League average. Wolves, as you can see, plenty of problems defensively and fairly poor in attack. The attacking side nowhere near the other two teams. Some nicely over the Premier League average, but you'd still want those a lot higher. Defensively, just performing well below average. Premier League stats-wise, as you can see, most goals, clearly Man City and Liverpool, but Newcastle up there with 75, which is pretty nice. Tottenham with 62, Wolves at 56. I mean, even for an almost relegated team, 56 is pretty good. Fewest shots against, nobody. Most possession, nobody. Dribbles made, nobody. Wow, this is getting to be pretty much nobody tactic. Tottenham, there you go. Most tackles won, so a little bit of the defensive side. Best pass completion. Tottenham and Newcastle's most shots for. And then most points per game, as you'd expect, is Tottenham in 7th. Individual player overviews for Premier League. Most goals, you can see Haaland, of course, with 38, but Kane with 24, Isaac with 21, St. Maximin with 16, so that's nice to see him up there. Most assists, you got a few. Sarabia, Porro, Trippier, and Target. Most player of the match awards, only Isaac with 8. And that's kind of on the higher side of, a little higher than average. But Jose Sa, best pass completion, as you would typically expect. Nobody for most dribbles made. Nobody for fewest conceded. I mean, the defensive side on this piece, not so much. Most key passes, Trippier, Sarabia, and Porro in there, 100 and above. Most shots, you got Isaac and Kane, 99 to 142. 142, I mean, that's pretty nice. And finishing up, as we always do, individual stats over all competitions. Harry Kane with 33 goals, 712, a highest average rating. It's okay. I mean, it's good. Again, it's good. It's Kane. So he's going to play well for the most part, but 712 just seems low for a player of his caliber. So Porro with 19 assists is fantastic. Harry Kane and Porro with 5 player and match awards apiece. Isaac with 27 goals for Newcastle with 747 highest average rating. See, for a striker, that's what I want to see. His 747 highest average rating is fantastic for a club. Trippier and Target both with 14 assists apiece. That's nice. And Isaac with 11 player of the match awards. Wolves, as you would expect. Cunha with only 14. Neves with a 704 highest average rating. Sarabia with 18 assists is not too bad. And then player of the match awards, 3 for Nelson Semedo. Really poor on Wolves' part overall. And again, this is just the way that I've been doing the sims in the tactic talks and all that. It just didn't work for my save. That doesn't mean it's a bad tactic. Does not mean you should not take a look at it. But overall, it just didn't work here. But in your own saves with your own touches, it definitely could. But that is it for me, Sapien FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.